Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are continuing to conquest yourselves, conquest things around you under God's purposes, and continuing to use self-control, continuing to fight those temptations from the evil one, and continue to live the best life you can live, my friends, and be the best high-value male you can be. All right, so we're going to talk about a topic that's really kind of relevant for this period of time. We're going to talk about Lent a little bit, and we're going to talk about the fasting, and we're going to talk about under semen retention. So let's kind of talk about that. But let me give you a few shout-outs here before you get a chance here. Alvin, thank you, my friend. God bless you, my friend. Dr. Vonslife's Investing, thank you, my friend, as well. Oleg, as usual, thank you. Hamilton, EA7, thank you. Sjoer, thank you. Hyodoshun, 32 days as of this writing, so thank you. Ben from Australia, welcome, my friend. Welcome, Ben. And Givenchies, thank you. And the Mugger. I appreciate all those, my friend, and we'll do 10 more the next time we get together here. All right, so let's kind of talk about this a little bit. So we're talking about fasting here. Now, why is fasting something that's important when it comes to semen retention? All right, so when we talk about semen retention, we're talking about basically an idea in which you're gonna try to accomplish a bigger thing than just retention. What you're trying to do is kind of get closer to God. The reason we go ahead, I gotta put this thing down. I got some all of a sudden coming into my face here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get closer to our Lord. The reason we go ahead and fast, or we should, as far as Lent goes, is the fact that you want to get closer to your Lord. And I think part of it, your Creator, part of it is that you're focusing then on meditation, talking to your Creator, talking to your God, and being able to kind of get away from all the digestive things that happen when you got so much food in your system and you're not concentrating. And you know this as well as I do. If you eat a lot, you're going to feel a different type of thing than when you try to fast or not eat as much during the day. You have a lot more energy, you're running around, you do a lot of other things as well with that. So fasting becomes an important tool in your whole repertoire here of trying to become the best, male that you can become. So when we talk about this, of course, you can use lots of different types of fastings. Now, a 40-day fast is something I've done before. Now, I did it before with just water, and that was really tough, but this was many, many years ago. Now, I just pick certain things. Like for this 40-day period until April 20th or something like that, I focus on not having diet soda, and not having bread. And so those two things have helped me a lot. I've actually lost a few extra pounds, getting closer to my 6-pack. I'm down to a 3-pack. We're getting closer. It's kind of hard because when you get so many years of putting your body in a certain position, muscle memory, things like that, it's kind of hard to go ahead and get a change. So I'm still working at it. Always work on it until the last day I'm here. I'll keep working on it. And we'll try to get there. And I see progress. And again, this has also helped me as well. But what does the fasting do? And why does it help you during semen retention? Well, let's kind of take a step back and realize what our journey is. Our journey basically is trying to allow us to save as much of our energy and transmute as much of our energy as possible. My son's gone down. I think it's over a cloud again. It is as much as you can, as much as you're trying to keep your energy so you can transmute it. The last thing you want to do is kind of shoot all that energy out, lose it, whether you're having intercourse, whether you're just looking pictures, things like that. You want to keep that energy and be able to focus on having the best situation you can to achieve the goals and things that you want to achieve. And because of that, then what happens is that you become a stronger person. You get all the benefits we've talked about, clarity. You start having, going back to the Kellner's book, The Fountain of Youth. You focus on keeping a lot of your youth, a lot of your energy. You kind of work with the chakras, and you always focus on those type of things to get yourself more transmuting that energy into very positive types of forces. And so as you do that, now you're focusing more on looking at things other than chasing women around, other than looking at pictures, other than worrying about all those things, and you're trying to improve yourself. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line goal, to continue to try to improve yourself as you go along. So what happens was, as soon as you started taking this journey, And what happens usually is self-control becomes a result of retention. So as you do retention, and I'll move up a little bit here, as you do retention and you do it a longer period of time, you end up now realizing how important it is to control yourself. This is one of the major things I found out when I first started doing this many, many years ago, and especially in monk mode. Monk mode really kicked in. I was struggling for, as I've said many times before, many years, going back and forth on this. And it wasn't until I decided to go monk mode and just change everything that I've seen such a different increase of things. And I'm going to be 64 in June, and I just feel tremendous. I feel unbelievable power. I feel unbelievable purpose, and I don't have as much fear, anxiety. All those things have kind of gone away, and I don't have that temptation, all those things. And part of it could be an age, and some of you guys have mentioned that. It's part of it maybe because of age, but it's also part of it's because of, realizing how to transmute that energy. And some people take longer to do that. Most people do it between the ages of 40 and 60, and I tend to do a little bit more later, in the later part of, in the early parts of 60s and things like that. So it does take a little time to understand how to do this. And I wish, obviously I would have known this back when I was in my 20s, but it's hard to control that. Those of you out there in the 20s and 30s and 40s, it's not an easy thing to control that basic nature you have to procreate. So what happens then is that you learn how to self-control. And if you're learning how to self-control, now you're looking for other things to do to make self-control even easier for you, but also controlling other things around you. So once I did that, I started adding things like taking cold showers, and that's been known to raise testosterone, other types of things, and all of a sudden now you're ready for the day. And then at times I've done intermittent fasting. What that does is it allows the body to get a shock a little bit, and I think shocking the body's always been a good thing. So beyond the reason of trying to get closer to your creator, which is the major reason you do this, the other reason basically is just kind of trying to let your system digest, sit, and work on other types of things. And a lot of times I've seen cases where and some people say, well, this is just kind of a wives' tale, but I'll tell you that days that, and I haven't been sick very often, but those times I've been sick, I immediately decide not to, I'll drink liquids, but I immediately not to eat anything. And I know when I eat something, I even feel worse. So I just know from personal experience, in myself at least, that doing a fast, those type of things can help you allow your body to focus on those other things within your system, whether it's some problem or something you're having, and try to make sure it repairs itself. And I think that's a very important type of thing. I believe very much in a holistic type of healing, and that your body can heal. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with medical science and all that. There's times that you can use that, but I think there's way too many people depending on too many medicines and pills and things like that to help them heal, losing weight, different types of things. And I think that you have to learn how to do that yourself. Your body has a mechanism to do that, but you also have to believe in God to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who struggle with that whole concept of believing that God will help you figure out ways to do that within your system. So going back to the fasting, the important thing with the fasting is to be able to kind of monitor what types of foods you're having. Now, in my case, because I'm older, I'm working with a lot more protein, weightlifting, protein. I, do treadmills, bikes, those type of things. And so I try to have short meals. I've listened to a number of different people like Sylvester Stallone, other people that taught in those Expendables, a couple of those guys in Expendables, to kind of talk about their diets. And they're focusing on short meals, different types of foods, but protein and some fruits and vegetables, things like that. And those are the types of things that I go to, whether it's fish or meat or things like that. Those type of things are more important. I've kind of stayed away from the breads now, and I've been in this for like almost 3 weeks, past 3 weeks for Lent. I think it's been helped me a great deal. I don't know if I'm actually going to go back to bread at some point, because to my mind, I feel better without it. I think I had a tendency to get bloated too much if I had bread. And this way, it's easier to kind of, put this together with yogurt or some kind of other types of things to avoid the type of bread that I'm having. So that kind of stuff I think has helped a lot. But the intermittent fasting is a key type of thing. I think that if you do that, you'll realize how, once again, it's important to learn how to control yourself. And as you're controlling yourself, now you're controlling other things around you. This is the key in anything you're doing, whether it's relationships, in your own body, focusing in a relationship with your God, with other people. You're able to control yourself. And this is where men, I think, have a unique ability. We don't get as emotional on things. And so because we don't get as emotional, we're able to, if we control ourselves. Now, once again, the most I was emotional about things was when I released. And I believe that's because I lost a lot of my energy. And because I lost my energy, I became more scared, fearful, anxiety, and all of a sudden a lot of my emotions came out more. Since I've actually been on the monk mode, I'm not going to say I'm stone cold, but I would also say to you that I basically a lot more calmer. I'm not as reactive. And it takes a lot to really get me upset anymore, which is a good thing because I used to play football, a lot of anger and, kind of hitting people and things like that in the game of football in college and high school. And so I learned a lot to control myself over time. And so I think it's important to recognize how important that is when you're focusing really on trying to become the best person you can become. So fasting to me is a crucial part of it. Now, if I'm not in Lent, what I try to do is do a fast of a 16-hour fast or a 12-hour fast or 8-hour fast. You can start with any different types of things you want. But remember, you're focusing really on trying to use that food you do have to build your body more. And so when you're focusing on building your body, there's times you have to kind of let the proteins, things that you have really work in your system. And so sometimes you kind of have to have a short fast. The other thing you should do is I always go walking after I have a meal. Always a good thing is, and I've seen that, I've felt that myself, that you try to kind of don't let that food sit in your system too long. Allow yourself to start getting in some kind of exercise. An easy thing like walking is easy to do. So the thing is that's kind of where the key is to me. So when you're focusing on fasting, you're focusing on using it as a tool, but more importantly, you're focusing it on to get closer to your God. And that's when you do that. And I think certainly when people fast, one of the reasons they do that is they want to listen to messages from their Creator. And that becomes a huge type of thing. And so obviously the whole idea of Lent, having, remembering how important, in my case, Jesus Christ is, and all the stations across, all the things that people he went through to kind of save us, to me is really a key type of thing. But all of us have different types of ideas in our religion that we focus on. And I think certainly fasting is one of the things that can help you focus on that and become that high value person, that high value male that you want to become. And so in my mind, that's crucial in using it. So that's why I say that as we focus on all this, the key is to continue to better yourself as you go along, better the way you look, better to take care of yourself, and focus on yourself. And so when you do all this, you're now moving away from all the other types, identities, things. And I've seen many, many things on this where so many men are focusing more on themselves. I saw some kind of statistic that made me kind of sad because of the way that men and women are reacting, especially a lot of the modern women nowadays, where you're focusing on, a lot of women, by the time 2030 rolls around, they're predicting 45% of women will be by themselves without children. And it's just a sad situation. But we've had a lot of brainwashing in the society about how women and men should act, and a lot of men are deciding to make the movement not to put up with a lot of that nonsense anymore. And it's just an entitlement attitude that you see. So I think that what's helping us is a lot of these things we talk about and trying to focusing on better yourself. And so I would not even bother with any of that stuff unless you find somebody who obviously is going to be a different than all the things I'm just mentioning. And there's lots of women out there that can do that, but that woman has to help you achieve the goals. I think the days are really passing on when you see a lot of men who are just kind of living for women now. And I think that whole thing that was desired many, many years ago is just not the case anymore. And I think a lot of men have to realize they're kind of being used in many cases. And, especially the men who are simps, who basically just kind of give women anything they want. And it just kind of, and they lose respect. And so what you got to do is you keep respect by basically doing your own thing. And you work with somebody, and there's nothing wrong with, kind of growing with somebody and being there, but also not losing your identity. And part of identity, your own identity, is to try to continue to focus on positive things that can get you to become better and better. And certainly working out is one of those things, and fasting is another one of those things. So I think it's key during this period of Lent to kind of focus on that and think to yourself, okay, what can I do to become better? What can I give up? And of course, the biggest giving up at all really is your semen retention. You're retaining your semen, and that's one of the most important things. But beyond that, you also want to look at other things that can help you as well. And certainly fasting is one of those things that can help you as well, along with weightlifting and setting goals and all those type of things that we continue talking about as we go on. And certainly when they talked about if you read the book Fountain of Youth, which I always talk about with Peter Kendler, you're talking about also making sure that you eat the right types of foods. And we've talked about that before. We had to don't combine meals where you're eating a lot of carbohydrates and proteins. You're going to kind of mess your system up. And I think certainly when you're fasting, your system reacts to that. And when I talk about shocking, what I mean by shocking is that your body is used to having so much food a day. If you get away from that and have less food, your body is shocked, so it's got to work harder, and that's when you tend to lose some more weight. On the other end, you can also have a day where you're eating a lot more, and you go back to it, and all of a sudden it shocks it again. Or you're working out, and your body is shocked this way or that way. So your body has a strain to work, and that's where you start to get that push and pull of the muscles, and you start getting more tone in your body and get more of that. And it doesn't matter what happens. I'm getting more tone at 63 than I had when I was 25. So you can do it, no matter what your age is. But you have to get past that mental barrier of saying that you can't do it. But you got to just kind of figure out the right thing. And for me, it's been a lifelong puzzle trying to figure out how to get myself where I want to look and how I want to look to the point where, it's just a little piece of a puzzle here and there. But the biggest puzzle certainly is working with my Lord and also figuring out, how to have self-control. Once I started doing that, I know in the last 4 or 5 years now, I've gotten better on the right track. And that's what's important. So, all right, my friends. Well, enough for today. I think I'm going to go teach class. I just wanted to kind of do one because I haven't done one for a few days. And want to continue on with our next topic is going to end up being, what is it? I'm going to try to look at the Cushing syndrome. Miles Jovi asked a question on that, and we'll talk about that as well. Okay? All right. So anyway, and as I usually do all the time, my friends, hope you have a great day today. 2 things I always leave you with. First, every day is a new day to a great warrior, and you guys are all great warriors. And by the way, guys, I'm bringing back my goatees, so we're getting back to where we used to be before. And secondly, always have to continue to battle on. Always continue to fight, because you always have to realize that the evil one's always around, and they're always going to continue to fight. And so this is why, as I just said, you got to keep the helmet on, you got to keep your shield on, you got to continue to watch out for temptation. It could be subtle. I mean, you look at books, and sometimes they got subtle things in the books that you have. Sometimes it's noticeable, sometimes it's not. Always be on guard, because the bottom line is you have to continue to fight this battle, and we have to continue to battle on! God bless you guys. Have a great day.